How you boys doing today on this eventful motherfucking Turkey Day? To all my turkey eaters out there, happy Turkey Day. Um, to everyone else, welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you guys a PvP oriented build, long awaited. Now I just want to say off the bat that this is definitely in no way, shape, or form the best PvP build. I'm sure there's some cookie cutter build out there that has yet to be discovered, but this is what I have gathered from my playtesting, from seeing other people's builds. This is what I have deduced as a very viable PvP build. So let's just make this short and sweet. There's no need to get into a 30-minute video about why you take this and why you take that versus other things. No need for it to be super in-depth. So getting into the skills, the first skill you're going to be wanting to go is Destructive Force. You're putting 7 points into that and then going 3-3-2. Reason being is because this is mainly focused on buffing yourself as well as doing damage to enemies that are already airborne, which enemies are going to be super airborne most of the time. This is a very CC oriented build, not super CC, but it's a pretty crowd control oriented. Next, you're going to be going fucking Implosion, going 1-1. This is going to be used to knock up enemies so that you can use your Energy Strike right after. And that's a great way to get multiple targets hit with your Energy Strike. They're very compatible abilities, and they work very well with each other. Speaking of which, you're also going to be going 8 points into that. Energy Strike, you're going to be going 10 points, going 3-3-2. You want to do as much damage with this as possible, with as much attack speed, dealing 50% increased damage to airborne targets, and dealing 50% increased damage on top of that. Next, you're going to be going Thunderbolt Strike. You're going 2-2. The main purpose of this is a filler move, although it does have pretty good damage on top of the ability to CC. You're going to be going 2-2 for this, going 7 points, and it's got a 16-second cooldown, making it a pretty strong ability for such a low cooldown. For your rush, you're going to be going 4 points, and then taking the third option, which gives you more distance for your dash, making it very good in PvP, allowing you to get out of sticky situations as well as close the gap on enemies so that you can do your opener or do your combination for big burst. Next up, you're going to be going Force Wave. My apologies. You're going to be going 3-3-1 for this ability, or for the tripod system for this. This is mainly used for ranged knockups, although it does pretty high amounts of damage, especially if it crits. For my gameplay, there was a lot of times where the enemy was low, and I didn't really have anything to hit them with other than Force Wave because it's a relatively low cooldown, 15 seconds. I know that's not super low, but for this class, it's fairly low. You cast that out, and they pretty much are guaranteed to get hit with it with this tripod setup because you got attack speed as well as damage, and then 3 waves are shot out instead of just 1, so the likelihood of them getting hit is very high. As well as these 2 tripod systems, the second tier, the third option works very well with the first option in the third tier, because this reduces your damage by 30, whereas this increases your damage by 30, so they balance each other out, so you're not losing any damage at all. You could go the 60%, but you're losing damage at the beginning, and then your damage becomes moderate in the middle, and then it becomes 30% more at the end of the distance for the cast. So I guess it's up to you for that. For Spiral Strike, you're going to be doing 10 points into this, going 1-1-1, The reason for this is because Spiral Strike does a lot of damage. You could go 1-1-2. Found either or really works. They both do very high amounts of damage, but this applies a dot to the enemy, which allows you to deal damage and then get out and then run away, waiting for your cooldowns while still doing damage to the enemy. So they're still taking dot damage while you are waiting for your cooldowns to come up. So you're really not losing any damage opportunities with taking this. Whereas this is just made for made for doing big burst damage. I think this might increase the cooldown. Yeah, this increases the cooldown by 5 seconds as well, which is not that great in PvP. You don't want super high cooldowns, so it's really preference, up to you which one you want to take for that. For Force Unleashed, you're going to be going 10 points, and you're going to be going 1-1-1. This makes it so you can cast the ability faster, give yourself a 30% damage boost, and it lasts for 12 seconds instead of 6. The thing with this is it's really good because it gives you a 30% damage reduction by default. So you're giving yourself a 30% increased damage boost on top of the 30% damage reduction, making it very good for PvP. The problem is this is a 30-second cooldown ability, so it's not amazing. If you have any cooldown reduction with your Super Saiyan form is going to give you cooldown reduction by default, so it definitely helps. But because this is such a high cooldown, it makes it very situational, where when it's going to be good. It's no set rotation that you're going to be able to apply this into, because the thing is when you cast an ability like this, the enemy, you're facing like real people. You're not facing AI. So these people are, they see you cast this, so they're probably going to think, oh, I gotta not get hit by this guy now. Let me run away. So if you want, you can actually spec into Infernal Beam. This is also really good, putting 10 points into this, going the third option into either the first or second option. Either or works. This is probably better for an ability like this, since it's such a long channel cast, and you don't want to be broken when getting hit by this. Although in a 1v1 situation, it would probably be better to go this. That way you can deal damage to people that are getting staggered. And then you can go the second option. The first option actually works very well in PvP because you have no channel, and it attacks much faster and deals 50% increased damage as well. Or no, it ignores the enemy's armor. So I'm going to be honest, I don't really know what the armor does in PvP. I don't know if that if that's damage reduction or what. I don't know if that increases damage, but if it does increase damage, then you're getting a 50% increased damage from this ability. Or if it just adds penetration, which wouldn't make any sense at all. So I'm just going to assume that it deals more damage. So you're getting 50% increased damage on top of attacking 30% faster. And there's no animation. So when you're casting the ability, it just goes off. There's no channel, like as if you were to go the other option. There's a long channel, long animation prep before you get into the ability. So it's really up to you. There's also a ton of different iterations for this build. There's so many different things you could go. Like you could replace this ability with Tempest Wave or Force Unleashed, or not Force Unleashed. You can Force Strike. You could go or put Infernal Strike into any. You can replace just about any skill, especially Thunder Strike or Light. What is it called? Thunderbolt Strike. You can replace Thunderbolt Strike with Infernal Beam. So it's a lot of the abilities, or not a lot, but a couple of the abilities are kind of up to you. I see tons of different iterations of this main build when I was playing PvP, watching Soul Masters play. they mainly ran this setup. So yeah, that's what you wanna go. As for the rotation, I'm gonna be showing you guys on a dummy. It would probably be better if I went into PvP, but it's a little bit harder for to show perfect execution in PvP because there's so many variables and so many things happening. So we're just gonna stick with the dummy for now. But I guarantee you that this works in PvP for the most part. So what you're going to want to do is, let's say you're in a 1v1 situation. You're going to want to start off with a Super Saiyan 1 as soon as you get into the match. And right before you go into attack somebody, you can, if they're low, if they're half health or below, then you want to go right into Super Saiyan 2 or 3 and then deal your damage on them. Be careful though, because if you go into Super Saiyan 3 and try to go in on them and they dash out or you miss your ability, then you're kind of screwed from there, because it takes up to a minute. It takes a minute for your Super Saiyan to recharge after level 3, so you're pretty much going to die using that. So I recommend just using 1 or 2 for PvP. Use 3 if you know for a fact that you're going to get a kill. But other than that, yeah. So we're going to go into Super Saiyan 2. What you're going to do is you start off by activating your Force Unleashed. You're going to dash into your opponent, doing the Spiral Strikes. After you cast your Spiral Strikes, you're going to then do your Destructive Wave into Force Wave. After that, you're going to just pretty much run around, wait for them to do something, dodge what you can, and then you're going to use your, what's the ability called? Implosion into Energy Strike. You want to use your Implosion and Energy Strike in unison. You don't have to do some perfect execution rotation like dash, Spiral Strike, Destructive Wave, Force Strike, Implosion. Because, I mean, this is just, like, super unrealistic. That's just unrealistic. Like, you being able to do that is very, very improbable. Especially with how PvP works. You can't lock somebody down. Like, guaranteed. You can't juggle them for the most part. There are some instances where you can get juggled. But with this build and this class, we don't have a ton of juggling abilities, especially since Implosion, you know, there's like a couple seconds before they start taking damage where they can dash out. So yeah, and if they're on the ground, they can twirl away. So, you know, you got to really pick and choose your fights and make sure you're not wasting your damage or abilities on a target that is guaranteed to dodge your damage. So let's say you take Infernal Beam instead of Forced Unleashed. The only real situation you're going to use this in is at the beginning of the fight or at the end of your combo or rotation. So you're going to use it right in the beginning of a fight just to get some free damage off. Or you can use it right at the end of your fight. I'm going to have to reset cooldowns here. So, like, you cast all of your abilities, do your damage, and then boom, right at the end, you cast this. Either at the end of a combo or while they're running away, you're going to cast this. So, like, from far away, you shoot it out so that you can deal damage to them. Because that ability also staggers them. So if they get caught in that beam, the likelihood of them getting out of it is very low. The only way they can get out of it is if they are right at the end of the cast and they get pushed out of it. So, like, as you can see, he can get pushed out of the cast. He goes farther and farther and farther. So if you're not careful with the orientation of your ability, you can knock somebody out of range of your beam, making it so you can no longer damage them. So you got to be careful while doing that. So just showing you guys some gameplay of me in PvP using this build. I'm just going to commentate some of my thoughts over it. I just wanted to let you guys know that I know this isn't, typical of my usual guides. This is a little bit like more unedited. There's still going to be some editing, but it's also very like quick and not as in-depth. So I do apologize if that's what you're more used to. I wanted to get this out not as soon as possible, but at relative speed, because there's not much I can talk about. I'm not an expert at PvP, but I know you guys have been wanting a PvP build. I am in no way the type of person that you should come to looking for advice. I did not create this build. This is from what I've been seeing people use. I've just deduced, why you should use these, why these abilities are picked over others, and that's what I'm bringing to you guys. So I hope you guys did enjoy this guide. I hope you learned something from it. Make sure that if you did, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Also, check out my stream, which I'm putting in the link in the description down below. And one more thing when it comes to this build. When it comes to your ultimate, I know you guys are probably questioning when you should use it and what the best method is, where you should use it. Don't use it. The only time, you can use it, but just don't expect it to hit anybody. The chances or odds of it actually hitting anyone is slim to none. Maybe in the 1v7 situation, you might get a few kills with it because it's just, there's so many people all over the place. But it's definitely not something that you should use competitively. It's too risky of an ability to use. So I would stay away from it unless you just want to have fun and maybe just throw it out, dunk somebody if you want. That's up to you. Besides that, guys, happy Thanksgiving. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll hopefully see all of you next time. Peace.